All right, so it's gonna play the song first, and then we're going.
All right, welcome back everybody to another edition of Laugh London Eat with the one and the only Joe C.
Joe C. Woo woo.
Also known as Joey Bag of Donuts.
Joey Bag of Donuts?
Yep.
Bag of Donuts.
Bag of Donuts.
Oh, donuts.
Yep.
Bag of Donuts. Joey Bag of... I love that, man.
Well,
Why don't I have a cool nickname like that?
Well, I'm in sales, so I bring donuts to all my customers in the morning, and then they give us business.
Joe, what do you think about this music? Can you guys hear the music, or is it in my head again?
No, he's been here at the
I can hear it. That's
All right.
good.
What do you think about this? This is Madness's theme.
This is my theme song.
It sounds wonderful. I would have Miami Vice.
Miami Vice. Yeah. All right. So, welcome to another edition of Laugh, Let It Eat with Madness. We are here today, and we're a little late for Father's Day, but better late than never, right, Madness?
Right.
This is Bring Your Dad to Work Day.
Bring my dad to work day. I like it.
I like it.
We all wore the black T-shirts today, which was
matching.
he asked me what, and I was like black.
Mine says Space Invaders because I got Space Invaders on the back.
Nice.
Mine
Nice.
says "Ask me about mortgages."
Mine
Yeah.
does the same.
We gotta get you like a Bag of Donuts T-shirt, man.
That's a good idea. Maybe I should get some made up.
Bag of Donuts. I
Yeah.
think we need that.
All right.
Laugh, Let It Eat bag in a bag of donuts.
I'll send you the bill.
I am going to have my art guys start working on this right now, Joe. So listen, for our listeners out there, we have, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name, brother. I'm so sorry. You know what I mean? I'm just going to do it.
It's okay. Cucurulo.
Cucurulo. Joe Cucurulo from North New Jersey. We're not going to allow to say the location of it because we don't want anything happening, right? In Jersey.
Nothing ever happens to me. Don't worry about it.
All right, good. So the reason we did this is Madness and I were talking one day, and she says, "Hey, you want me to bring my dad on the call with or on the show with us, right? Something like that, Maddie. Is that what happened?"
Yeah, I was thinking about what kind of interesting characters I could bring on the show. And we've been consistently on the rankings. So we've been coming up on the charts again. We were going downhill for a little bit.
We were.
So I'm trying to make sure that anyone that I'm bringing on at this point is only going to bring views. And I was like, who's an interesting person in my life that I can bring on?
Thank you.
And I talked to our sister this morning, and I was telling her how he was coming on, Tony Ann. And she was like, oh God, this could go in 16 different directions. And I was like, yeah, no, it really could. So we came here unscripted today. There's so much to say, so much to talk about. I don't even know where to begin.
I mean, let's just talk about, like, why did you pick Joe as a guest? I mean, other than the interesting character part, I think there was something to do with something that you said, hey, Fob, maybe this could work on this angle.
Yeah, so I think that we've definitely been trying to get outside of just having mortgage professionals on here or people within our own sphere. And I think, long story short, so he's stepfather, been in my life for more years than he hasn't been in my life at this point. And if anyone out there has ever read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I feel like that is a very good analogy or example of the mentorship that I had from both my dads over time, where I had one dad that was more physically present and I could really learn a lot of just business, day-to-day, things that I've grown up with him my entire life. And then there's other things that I learned from my dad, and we've had different experiences with our dads. So we've always kind of had a special bond. But long story short, during COVID, we had the ability to work together, which we weren't working in the same industry, but as COVID has it, a lot of people were working from home. And us being in the essential businesses where we never really saw, I was back in the office. We really never weren't in the office, and he owns his company. So I would go into the office with him a lot of the times just to get out of the house because we couldn't go into our corporate offices with Annie Mac at the time.
Mhm.
And I just felt like in the last couple of years, as I've started to grow in my sales position, a lot of the things that I do, whether I realize it or don't realize it, have kind of mirrored a lot of what I've seen him do throughout my lifetime, especially in the last couple of years. So I thought, what better way to have my guy, Mr. C, because I couldn't pronounce Cucurullo when I was little, just kind of come on here and, give everyone a little piece of the excitingness that he brings to our family.
Joe, has Madison always been such like precise with her words?
Yeah,
She's always so succinct, so boom, to the point. It's like done, like within 10 seconds, I know exactly what she's talking about.
I would say yes, for the most part. Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
No, what do you always tell me? Keep it simple. He's very much like no fluff, just get to the point.
Exactly.
What happened? Did you like were you like out of missing that day in school when Joe was giving that lesson? What happened?
Oh, well, we have to have the other parent on here to understand why I am the way that I am.
So Joe, let's forget about Madison. Let's talk.
Sure.
You've been in sales, from what Maddie's telling me, for like 50 plus years.
Yeah, probably a little bit longer. When I grew up in the Bronx, I was a paper boy. I delivered the Daily News in the morning and the Post in the afternoon. And I've always had that ability to reach people from on a social level, on a business level, and it's all kind of the same. It's just being a person.
But don't you think, what you just said right there, like having a paper route when you were a kid, like I had one also when I was in 3rd or 4th grade in Arlington, Virginia, right? Mine was evening, was the Washington Star back when it used to come out in the evening after school. But do you feel like that kind of puts you on that path of like where you feel like work, compensation, money is connected, and now you want more of it?
Oh, absolutely. I grew up old school. I grew up with my grandparents who came over to this country in the 1920s from Italy, and they were God-fearing, hardworking. My grandfather was up every morning at 5. He worked 5.5 days a week. So he taught me through example.
Yeah.
We spoke broken English. So we had a very close relationship, but not a very vocal relationship. But I think teaching through example is probably the best mode, because all the words in the world are great, but if you don't walk the walk and you just make the talk, it's kind of like a lot of hot air. And I'm not into hot air. I'm into the bottom line.
Yeah, it's a good point. That's a good point. Maddie, what do you think, man? I knew you sold lemonade or something when you were a kid, and you loved that feeling.
Oh, and I used to work at the snack stands at all of our younger siblings. So we should probably mention that I'm one of 6. So this guy's raised 6 children. I'm the second oldest.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that he's a man of action, never words. And I think that that's something that, being someone of 6 children and running a business and all the hats that he's worn throughout my lifetime, the fact that he was always not just a man of his words, but actually had action to follow through. He's not a procrastinator. There's so many ways that I could just explain right now that we're different, but I think it's also helped me in being like, who do you want to model in business and also in life? And a lot of the times I have to do the opposite of what I want to do, which is what he's doing in order to be successful.
Joe, what was your, like, after you grow up, blah, 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 all that stuff, right? What's your first real sales job? Like, what were you doing?
Well, I worked for a railroad, Canadian Pacific Railroad, in New York City, in Manhattan, in marketing and sales, corporate sales. They were good enough to send me up to Canada for 3 weeks on a sales seminar. And the name of the course was Principles of Professional Salesmanship. And the acronym was POPS, P-O-P-S. And to this day, I still draw on those values. Okay. Simple value. You're a customer. You come to me, you have a problem. I can either turn around, run away, or I can embrace your problem and solve it. So if I solve your problem, you're kind of loving me. And the chances of me keeping your business and getting your business and solidifying my relationship with you is going to be a lot greater. So that was one of the many principles that they taught us. And, to this day, whenever a customer comes to me, to us with a problem, we embrace it. I embrace it, and we try to come up with a solution.
You know what's cool, man, is like no matter what technology does, this new AI stuff does, what you just talked about, right? That human connection. I don't think AI is ever going to replace that. I know Maddie's like freaked out about it. Like she's like hiding underneath her bed, like AI is going to take my job and all this is going to happen. I'm like, I don't think it'll ever replace that human connection. I mean, what do you think, Joe?
No, absolutely. You know, the way I look at the internet, you know, it's been about what, 20 years. The internet, the way I look at it, it's like if you're going to build a house, okay, you can't build a house with just a hammer. The internet's a hammer. You need a screwdriver, you need a saw, you need da 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 da. So I think the companies, the big companies that really don't get the message, they try to build the whole house with a hammer because they think it's cheaper.
Yeah.
But it's not cheaper. You need every tool in the box. And the internet is a tool. It's a very powerful tool, but it's only one tool. It's not the whole enchilada.
Good point, man.
Not the whole enchilada.
Not the whole enchilada. You like that?
I like that.
Okay.
Maddie, what sales principle do you remember? I mean, you're new in the sales industry. You're like, what, 3-4 years in, 5 years in, something like that, right? I mean, it's a baby.
I balance hats, but yes,
Joe's been in 50 plus years. I got what, 37 years in the sales industry, something like that. You know what I mean? Yep. We're done. I mean, so you're like the new one. What principle are you seeing right now that you gravitate towards? Like you say, oh, this is really what I can kind of like in 10 words or less. I'm just kidding. No, yours.
No, I would just say, all right, I'll give you an example. So like something that he said was just keeping it super simple. So he has a birthday book. So for my entire life, and still to this day, if I go on my phone in our family group chat right now, he will text us and be like, hey, it's like a random babysitter that watched us like 3 times in our life's birthday today. And we're like, okay, like just, you know, Jessica or something like that. Wow. So he makes it a point to call every single person on their birthday. And I mean, you can speak to that, but we've had a lot of conversations about just how that one initial phone call.
Well, I would like to talk to Joe about someone's birthday.
Sorry, say it again.
So Joe, like if somebody posts something on your Facebook page on your birthday, would you acknowledge that person?
Well, first of all, I don't do Facebook.
I know you don't, but let's say you did in a hypothetical world.
Okay, if somebody posted what?
It's like, hey, Joe, happy birthday. Would you acknowledge them at least?
Oh yeah, absolutely, sure.
What if they made a video for you, like spent like days put together memories of you and them together?
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, that's cool. That's fine.
He knows where this is headed. He's already defending you. His fatherly instincts have come out, Maddie. I can see them in full color.
Oh my God! Yeah.
On her Facebook page, Joe. Can you believe this? He posted
a video on my Facebook page and I never saw it, so I never acknowledged it.
Oh.
And I got on his case like, oh my God, you didn't wish me a happy birthday. And he's like, what? I posted
and she did it on the show. She did it on the show, and I was like, oh, now we're going to show proof on the show.
Wow.
And she's like, well, I just saw this green tulip. I said, well, even if I put a green tulip on your Facebook page, isn't that good enough to be acknowledged?
Well, you know what? Here's what Joe would argue. If you picked up the phone and just called me, wouldn't have to worry if I ever saw it.
You never pick up when I call.
Yes, I do. No texting. Texting is work.
Get out. See, I hope the audience goes to YouTube and sees this episode. This is great.
They're like, Maddie won't pick up phone, Facebook, or anything. So I don't know what she's doing.
In fact, this morning you saw an email I sent 2 weeks ago.
No, I space out my content that I post. So I didn't want to post everything on the same day. So he posted me.
We have expectations of one another, Joe,
I'm just
right?
I think that.
Oh, she's jumping out the window. So let's pull it back. The birthday book, right?
Yeah, I'm just messing with that. I mean,
he's good with logic.
Okay.
So the birthday book. Part of the birthday book is a personal thing, right? Like it was my nephew's birthday yesterday, so I sent him a birthday message, happy birthday. But the other part of it is professional, and that's customers, vendors. We treat everybody the same, right? Mm-hmm. So if I know you and I like you, for instance, when's your birthday?
June 24th.
Okay, I'll put you in my birthday book.
Thank you.
And so what I do is I'll call people or I'll text them on their birthday to make them feel important, to make them feel special. Now, from a sales point of view, out of 100 people, how many people do that?
Yeah, not a lot.
Okay. So the whole trick in sales is setting yourself apart from the rest of the red pack.
Right.
And that's one little thing that you can do to set yourself apart.
How many years have you been doing that? Because that's quite a discipline.
I've been doing it for maybe 35, 40 years.
Yeah.
And I learned that from a very, very dear friend of mine who taught me. He was one of the best salesmen that I ever met. And it was one of the many things he taught me. And I embraced it. And that's what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so come back to you, Maddie. I mean, is there something that you do that differentiates you between other loan officers?
So similar to him, there was a college mentor of mine that I did a business program with, and he always told us to write handwritten cards. And
That's
so
good.
every Christmas, I send my clients a handwritten card. And if it happens to be the year that they had closed on a purchase of their home, if I'm not physically at the closing, I'll have the realtor or someone take a picture of them at the closing. And then I've printed that picture of them at the closing. And I just got a purchase this week from a refinance I did 2 weeks ago because she gets my handwritten Christmas cards every year. And she's mentioned before how touching that is. And how often do you get a handwritten card?
That's right.
That's not a family member.
Yeah. No, that's excellent.
Thanks.
Yeah. No, it is. It's tops,
Sales is sales, right, Joe? I mean, no matter what year it is, it's still the basic principles of human relationship, someone feeling worthy, and then they trust you to bring their business to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's, if I was going to sum it up in one word, as I've done before, it would be confidence. And by that, I mean, I'm in the shipping business, logistics. We move cargo, containers around the world. We deal with people all over the world, China, Europe. We deal with people 3,000 miles away. We've never met before, but we meet them on email. We meet them on the phone. We meet them on a team meeting. But if they have the confidence in me, in us, in my company to do what we say we're going to do when we hang the phone up, they're going to come to us more often than not. As long as we do what we say we're going to do and we're consistent. That's the key. It's like, why do you go to your favorite pizzeria? Because the pizza's always good.
Mm-hmm.
Now if the guys
until that one day it's not, and you're like, are you seriously, dude? I just drove 42 minutes.
Exactly.
What happened? I've been eating here since second grade. That's a true story, Joe.
Oh, but he'll tell them.
I do too.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm doing my job to help them get back on track.
And if they smile and they're friendly and they have a great pizza, it's a home run.
Yeah,
it's a home run. But I mean, it is very, very simple. It's basic, and it's nothing that AI can do. AI can help us, but it can't do what we're talking about right now.
See, Maddie, chill, relax.
This is why this is my voice of reason right here. Trust me.
Joe, I mean, you just mentioned something really cool, by the way, and I don't want to go over it. You're dealing with people all over the world, right? 50 years ago or whatever, how many, you probably didn't have, I don't know, maybe you did, maybe, I don't know. You probably didn't have that kind of global reach as you do today.
Well, we did.
So you were doing already global back in 1970s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because all of the stuff we move is going all over the world.
Got it. So with the technology, though, because obviously technology is not the same as it was 50 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. So does our sales technique, or does your sales technique improve with the technology? Do you kind of like change up things that you don't need to do anymore? Because you mentioned emails now and probably some Zoom calls, that kind of stuff are happening. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It makes us more efficient. So, right now I'm a marketing and sales guy all day long. That's all I do. Eat, sleep, and drink. I could reach 200 people in a day, emails and text messages. But I also augment that or supplement that with personal visits and with phone calls. And one of the little things that I do, and I've mentioned it to Madison before, is text messaging. Okay. Now, if you send, an email, delete. But if you get a text from somebody, that's got your attention because it pops up on your phone. So if I really want to get somebody, if I want to get their attention, I will shoot them a text. I might send them an email too, but I'll send them a text. And that will always get their attention because it pops.
100% agreed. 100% agreed. Can you give me some idea of like Amazon, right, really changed the way sales and customer experience occurred, right? People can go on their phone, Also, I think I need new guitar strings. Boom, I ordered new guitar strings. It'll be here tomorrow morning, right? So my expectation now of all salespeople is that same kind of seamless transaction. Has that affected your industry and your sales abilities?
Well, yeah, I mean, in my industry, we're a small company, very small company relative to the big shipping lines. The big shipping companies that own these mega ships that hold 30,000, 25,000 containers, they're big, they got lots of money, but they don't have the right attitude. They don't have the people who really care the way I care and the way my company cares. So we're small, we're nimble, we're able to navigate the big companies, like navigating through the post office, if you will.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a challenge.
Yeah. Maddie, you got any questions for Joe?
Any questions for Joe?
I always love when she repeats my questions, by the way, Joe. She does this quite often to buy time.
It's how I process.
That's right. Because she's listening to what she's saying and she's trying to figure it out.
Questions for Joe? Like, she just bought 5 extra seconds.
Do I? What is the? Okay, well, we'll reverse it. So since you saw me working on sales and building my business in the last couple of years, is there anything that you've seen interesting, or I don't know, is there anything, like, we're on a podcast right now, right? Mm-hmm. So just, I guess, I don't know, there's no question in this, Fobby, help me.
Sure there is. Just ask the question. I just follow through. The question is, Joe, observing her for the last 5 years, have you noticed anything that stood out to you?
I would say yes, and I would say everything. And I'm not just saying it to blow smoke at her, because she's sitting right here and I'm talking to you. She's got the right attitude. She's a personal attitude. She's on the phone. She's diligent. She follows up, and she makes it personal, just like the cards that you send over your customers. There is no trick. There's no easy way in sales. It's a slow, consistent burn. And you do that. I see you do that. You walk into the house, you're on the phone. When you leave the house, you're on the phone. You're talking to somebody. You're trying to do a deal. You're trying to do something. Those are all very commendable things. And reaching out and touching people.
Yeah.
So you seem like a pretty funny guy, Joe. I don't know.
I'm hysterical.
Yes,
I get the vibe that you can tell a few jokes here and there with the guys, right?
Yeah. Well, and the girls.
And the girls, yeah. But I mean, humor is a part of the
guys.
Humor is a part of the sales, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, I've always been told if I can make them laugh, I'll get them to listen to me.
You got it.
Right?
One of the things, now you just triggered something. One of the tools that I use when I communicate with people on email is Google Images. Okay? I would say a whole lot of times, I will always try to make the person laugh, whether they be wherever. Like, for instance, I had a situation today where I was communicating with one of the people I work with on my team. And there's somebody overseas that was not doing the right thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I sent a nice little, image, and I won't say the word, but it's the S list. Okay.
Right.
You're now on the S list, and I have a cartoon, and I send it. So now you could say it, but when you send an image, the old adage, one picture is worth 1,000 words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, one picture is worth 1,000,000 words.
Yeah.
People remember that. And if you can make people laugh, it doesn't matter if you're $50 more or $100 more. It doesn't matter. What matters is you made them laugh. They got confidence in you. They like you. You're consistent, and you deliver.
Maddie, you got any jokes? Do I have any jokes?
I was literally about to say it.
I beat you to it, Maddie. I beat you to it. Joe, one time I asked her, I said, Maddie, do you break the law? She's like, do I break the law? She came back and says, I jaywalk. I said, get the hell out of here.
Well, like I said before we came on here, I'm like, so what I said to him, I'm like, just don't say anything that's going to make me not be able to come back on this podcast or lose my daily job.
What could possibly be said on this podcast with Joe and me that has not been said in the last 14, 15 months?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely.
That's why I said everything's on the table.
Yeah. Do you use humor in sales, Maddie? Or are you still too new to it to kind of like feel?
I mean, my whole TikTok, I feel like my approach with the video
nice.
humor oriented. So I do a lot of videos that just, you don't have to even be buying a home necessarily to know what I'm talking about is like either like a big do or a big don't when it comes to home buying. So, mortgages.
Have you ever made a video with Joe?
No, this is our first.
No, you should.
Actually, during COVID, we toyed with the idea of doing like a YouTube or something like that. I just feel like he's got a lot of wisdom to share. So who knows?
You could make a TikTok video with him.
I could.
Joe, you're a good dancer.
Lessons with Joe.
I gotta dance on TikTok. That's why I don't do TikTok anymore. I don't have a TikTok account.
I dance like a refrigerator,
It's better than me, man. I don't even have that good rhythm that you just did right there. Yeah. I'm about a guitar and then I hide behind it. That's all I do. I hide behind my guitar. All right, that's interesting, Maddie. So you're really saying you're taking your humor on the social media level and kind of doing a broader approach, and then people kind of get your tribe is almost created, and then that's the kind of like the lead funnel for you.
Or if I get a phone call, I think that there's nothing more stressful than talking about money and debt and all the things that we talk about, especially like in a pre-approval. So I think if I can, add a little humor to make them feel like, okay, she's cool, or like she gets it. I don't have to withhold everything from her, because I think that's the biggest challenge in our industry is people like to withhold information from you, and then you find out one way or another. And I'd rather make it lighthearted and funny, so that if and when it happens, it could be like, remember when I joked about that, instead of coming at them from a place of being like, oh my God, I can't believe you just did this. Why would you go and open a credit card, or all the things that come home and
I know when I was a full-time loan officer, clients would always come up and say, I want the best rate possible, Fobby. And I'd look at them straight in the face and say, I'm sorry, you don't qualify for the best rate. And their jaws would drop. They're like, what do you mean? I just fucking with you. Just relax.
That's good. I like it.
But I mean, I used to use humor all the time. It was just something that just did. Joe, what about referral network? I mean, we talked about social media. Maddie has brought in the TikTok, right? Obviously, that's a internet social media, right? But it's still a network. I imagine you got to have an extensive network after as many years in the sales industry as you have, right?
We do. Yes.
And so, I mean, did you plan out like, hey, I need this person, I need this kind of person, or did it just organically grow as people connected with you?
You're talking about clients?
Yeah, just your referral networks, whatever. People saying, hey, I trust Joe, he'll take care of your shipping.
Okay, so I'll give you a little story. So years ago, maybe 20 years ago, we do a lot of business in the United Kingdom, okay? And one of our very good friends had a good connection with a corporate officer at a company that made alcohol. And so they picked up the phone one day and said, listen, this fella's going to come over from the UK, wants to meet with you because he's moving, you ready for this? He's moving vodka from the United States to Russia, to Moscow.
What?
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, what? I said, okay, well, I'll meet with anybody. Okay, so we sat down, we met with this fella, corporate guy. He was a Brit, prim and proper. Me and my business partner sat in a hotel room. He had a little whiteboard, told us what his problem was. And he looked at us and he said, can you fix my problem? And we looked at each other and we said, well, that's exactly what we do. We manage cargo. We know how to do exactly what you're doing. And he said, okay, I'm going to give you a shot. So he gave us a shot. We must have done, no exaggeration, over 1,000 containers of vodka, which is a lot of containers, okay, from the United States to Moscow. And I said to the fellow at the end of the meeting, I don't understand. When I think about vodka, I think the Russians make vodka. And he said, they do. However, they drink more than they make. So there's a net deficit. I said, good. God bless America. God bless Russia. We did 1,000 containers. We made boatloads of money. And I think I built my third house on all those containers. Jeez. So that was all from a referral, from a friend in the industry in England who liked us, picked the phone up and said, I know a guy who's got a problem. Can you help him? Yeah. That is the best way to get business.
100% agreed.
Or I'll say another example. Sorry, Bob.
Yeah, no.
Recently, you went on LinkedIn when you had to reach out to someone. Like, you did use the internet recently for a big win for business. I remember the lesson there was pretty much like, if you need something, go to the top. So he literally like researched the president of this company and like LinkedIn messaged them, right? Am I
No, you're absolutely right. We had We had a problem with a container that was stuck over in Antwerp, Belgium. I couldn't get any resolution for a week from the normal people I dealt with. So I went to LinkedIn. I found out who the president of the company was, sent him a message. Much to my surprise, he responded, gave me the name of his associate. That individual happened to be a woman. Problem solved, container got delivered. I said, well, that's great. But that goes to tenacity. You have to be tenacious. If you want something in business or in life, you have to go for it because it's the only way to get it.
Yeah. This goes back to something that I've been really saying for the last 2 years, is that everything I've ever wanted in my life has been on the opposite side of my fear.
There you go.
Nothing I've ever wanted was on the inside of my fear. It was always on the outside of my fear. And I had to break through that barrier. If I didn't, I'd never get it. Even starting this podcast 4 years ago, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to sound stupid. No one's ever going to tune into this podcast. Next thing we know, we got 2,000 listeners every month tuning in.
Nice.
What Madison's going to explain to me this time about repeat my questions to me. I mean, can you believe they actually tune in to have her repeat my questions to me, Joe?
Maybe they didn't hear it the first time and they appreciate the fact that I'm reminding them when we go on a tangent. They're like, oh.
So look, we're going up to the end here. I got to ask Joe one thing. As many years as you got in your sales, is there a pitch that you used, like something that was like so cringeworthy? Like sometimes I look back at some of the things I've said in the past. It's like, oh my God, I would never ever repeat that today. You ever got something like that? Like,
cringeworthy. That's a good one.
His neck just cracked.
No, I'd have to think about that. Cringeworthy. I don't know. Something that I would have said that was cringeworthy.
Like, I'll tell you what, I did a flyer one time, right? I think I was in my second year in the mortgage business, Maddie, right? And it had clowns on it. And underneath was, is this your loan officer from your last deal? If it is, please give me a call.
That's ballsy.
You know what? That is cringeworthy. That's cringeworthy.
Back in those days, we didn't get approvals from compliance or anything, right? So I'm just out there passing out to realtors.
Well, okay. I'll give you something that was cringeworthy. I didn't do it, but somebody did it upon me. Okay. Which I thought was the craziest thing that I've ever seen. And I think I probably told you this story. It happened about maybe 10 years ago. So there was an investment advisor who wanted to invest my money. I didn't know him. It's a hard business to break through to new people. So instead of calling me, what he did was he sent me a letter and a box. And in the box was 100 $1 bills.
Nice.
So, and with a little note, I'd like to invest your money. Please give me a call. P.S. Keep the money. So I looked at the letter.
That's all cringe.
That was cringeworthy. So I looked at the letter. I looked at the money. And what did I do?
Sent it back.
I sent it back. I think I sent it back with a note. I said, dear Mr. Smith, thank you very much for the money. I have too much money. Please give this money to somebody who's less fortunate than me. Best personal regards, Joe C.
Wow.
That's cringe.
Yeah. So that was cringeworthy on the receiving end.
So Maddie, what would you have done if you saw like my flyer where you got clowns and you're a realtor and I'm like,
I actually think that's hilarious. Not going to lie. There's a lot of clowns out there in this industry right now. I think that ad could honestly resurface.
Well, you know what? We'll do one for you, Maddie. How's that?
You want to know what my cringe was? And I never used this. And I think I've talked about how many times I've never used this term, but I feel like a lot of people that used this last year are cringing. Marry the home, date the rate.
Oh, I hated that from the first time I saw it. Never believed in it. Never said it. The thing is, I've said it on record, it is the worst thing to ever tell a borrower.
Yeah.
I've heard that too.
Right?
Yeah.
Because
I thought it was good when I heard it because I only heard it once.
I was not a big fan.
Not when you're trying to convince someone to spend maybe money that they don't have.
Or you can't even guarantee what the rate's going to be next year. I can't. What if they're 9%?
I can't refinance my clients. I'll have that purchase.
Now that one night stand turned into a long-term marriage and you hate the guy. It's like he's staring at you every morning, 7.5%.
Just make sure you hit him hard with a hammer.
Anyway, listen, Maddie, this was a good episode. I like this.
I know. Thanks, Joe.
Good, Joe. You're welcome on the show anytime you want to come back. Seriously. Love to get you back on here.
Pleasure meeting you.
All right, Maddie, get us out of here. What do you say?
Wrap it up, JP.